conversations about careers in India come up. Cities like Bengaluru, Chennai, Hyderabad, Mumbai, and other bigger cities often dominate the conversation. They're often seen as hubs of opportunity. But career success is also influenced by other factors such as quality of life, commute times, family support, community networks, and also the ability to sustain the career over the long term, advantages that many tier 2 cities offer. So, what does it take to build a successful career in a tier 2 city like Madurai? So, today on SheWorks, we have Dr. Nandini Murali, a DEI expert, certified life coach, and senior vice president at Avatar. Originally from Chennai, she spent decades living and building a successful career in Madurai. Dr. Nandini, thank you so much for joining us today. Very excited to hear about your experiences in Madurai and your perspectives on the city.
Thank you. Thank you, Divya, for having me over. And I'm looking forward to this conversation with you.
Likewise. Segment 1, the city and youth, we're going to be talking about your experiences in Madurai. So, Nandini, you grew up in Chennai and moved to Madurai after marriage, right? So, how was that transition like for you?
Yeah. So, Divya, I grew up in Chennai, that was then Madras. In many ways, it's still Madras for me, as those of us who grew up in that time. And then after marriage, I moved to Delhi, where my spouse was studying at AIMS. And then from Chennai to Delhi, and from there, the most unlikely shift was to Madurai. We have no moorings in Madurai, no connection with Madurai. I remember Madurai for me was a station we alighted when we would visit Kodaikanal.
Right.
That was how remote it was, and so the move to Madurai was most unlikely. So when it happened, it just took me by surprise. And in many ways, it just wasn't a geographical move or a shift. It was a huge cultural shift. I remember when I first went to Madurai with this perspective of settling down, and we were looking for houses. I told my dad when I saw women wearing salwars, I said, "Appa, they're wearing salwars," you know. So that was for me. That was how removed I was from the south of Tamil Nadu. For me, Tamil Nadu just was Chennai, and then after that, it was just places we would visit, or we would just pass by stations, names on railway platforms. That was how remote it was. But then, so it was a huge cultural shift as well. And I remember a few days after getting into Madurai, I went to the MK University. I wanted to register for my PhD in psychology because I have a background. One of my masters is in psychology, and they didn't have a psychology department back then. So that itself felt like my dreams and aspirations, my professional dreams and aspirations were being downsized. But then I'm someone who believes in bloom where you're planted. So I said, if option 1 does A is not there, so we still have 25 more options. And if you take the Tamil alphabet, you have 235 more options. So for me, bloom where I planted was the essence of how I decided to make my career in Madurai. It was very, very challenging. At this point, I'd also like to mention for certain professions, like say medicine, say law, or even the accounting profession, Madurai is a great place to be in, especially medicine. My spouse was a doctor. So you have some of the best hospitals. The medical ecosystem in Madurai is amazing. So if you belong to one of those mainstream professions, I suppose it doesn't matter. But for someone like me, deeply committed to DEI, with a humanities background. And I'm talking of 30 years back where remote working, hybrid options were all unheard of. So there were very, very narrow options available, teaching either at school or college. And then, which I did also get into teaching at school and then in college. And then after 8 years of conventional classroom teaching, I just got bored. And I said, it's time to reinvent myself. So that's how I started exploring other avenues, but more about that in the next question. So,
Lovely, super inspiring, Nandini. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. So now, after you started working in Madurai, were there moments when you felt that you needed to, move out to a larger city to grow professionally?
oh, yes, absolutely. At every time, it was like, it was a sigh. There's a very beautiful word in Tamil. There's ekam. There was the sense of nostalgia, the sense of longing. Oh my gosh, at least I should have been in Delhi, where my career would have bloomed. And I wanted to work in magazine journalism
Mm.
because I have a background in journalism as well. But all those avenues were closed in Madurai. So when I saw my colleagues, my former colleagues, my peers
Mm.
doing so well in metros, it was like, oh my gosh, do I have to downsize my dreams and aspirations? But that said, I'm always someone who looks to, how can I reframe this? What can I explore? What else can I do? Because feeling like a victim, feeling like, oh my gosh, I wish I was somewhere else. Those were very disempowering narratives. At that point, what also worked in my favor was that Madurai had a vibrant NGO presence,
Mm.
robust NGO presence, NGOs who worked in multiple fields. And somehow I was drawn to the NGO space, the social sector space, because it provided the right fit for someone with my sensibility, my sensitivity, my communication skills. Because NGOs, I think it's still true even now. They do fabulous work on the ground, but they don't showcase it. There aren't enough communication products to showcase their work. So that was a gap I saw, and here I was with those skills and sensitivities, and it was a perfect fit. And in many ways, my DEI sensibility actually has been incubated ground up. I learned about DEI simply by working on the ground with diverse communities. For example, people infected and affected by HIV/AIDS, people with mental health issues, LGBT community at the grassroots level, and then working with people, fisher folk on the coast, working with female sex workers. This is how my DEI sensibility was built. I didn't learn DEI from books. Actually, I learned it ground up.
So, looking back, Nandini, what strengths do you think did Madurai give you that have helped you throughout your career after you moved to Chennai also?
Okay. The most important strength it helped me discover was to reframe situations. As I said, PhD psychology at the university is not there. What else can I do? And later, very, very ironically, I did my PhD in gender studies, which was a combination of psychology and English.
Okay.
So actually, a lot of the psychology came into my PhD later. So one is reframe. If something doesn't work, and don't blame the circumstance. Take ownership of your life. So intentionality. Madurai taught me intentionality, both not only in my career but also intentionality as a core life value. It also taught me patience, taught me persistence. And back then, I think actually Madurai was very, very different from Chennai, because what was so amusing, it used to be so amusing for me in Chennai, everyone spoke good English. I mean, every street had a library. So back then, when I went to Madurai and people heard me talk at the school, especially students thought I was an Anglo-Indian. I would say, I look very, very, I don't look Anglo-Indian, but they said, no, you speak English in a certain way. So that for me was very, very funny, because I said I'm just talking like anyone else. But then, that there was this certain way of being perceived, because people felt, no, you just were very, very different. So for me, that was very, very interesting. And at the same time, there were times when I just felt intellectually isolated at Madurai, because I didn't have people on this, very many people on the same wavelength. So therefore, assumed greater responsibility for my professional growth and development. So in the sense, I would constantly keep investing in my personal growth and professional growth and development, constantly keep updating myself, preparing for that great day when I'd finally have the career of my dreams, and perhaps it's happened now at Avatar for me. Yeah. So that is one thing. Constant take ownership for constant professional growth and development, especially when the ecosystem around you is not very. That's not a core value for many people. So it's very easy to blame, to outsource the blame and say, oh, nobody's bothered, so why should I be bothered? Nobody's bothered, so I need to be even more bothered. So that was something I constantly updated myself. And of course, later, even when I was in Madurai, there was some very, very exciting, lucrative job offers which I had to turn down, not in a sense of doing any sacrifice, but because the situation demanded that. But yes, patience, persistence, uh, um, and the ability to also look at life and laugh, and also connecting with people. Over the years, 3 decades at Madurai has been a long time, and I found some very deep friendships and relationships, which continues even today, although I've relocated to Chennai. So, yes.
Awesome, Anandini. Um, Moving on to segment 2 now, the city in motion.
Yeah.
One is the rapid fire round. The one thing Madurai does really well for women.
There's a very feminine energy in Madurai. I don't know whether it's because the presiding deity of the place is Meenakshi. So I just find a lot of kinships among women in Madurai, a lot of support structures in the community, in the family. Yeah,
Which is so critical for women to succeed, right?
yeah, exactly. There's a very strongly feminine vibe in the city. Yes.
A place in Madurai that inspires you.
Oh yes, my two places actually, the Tirumohur temple and the Narasimham temple. For me, they're not merely places of worship. I go there I used to go there very regularly, and the deities in the temple, they've seen me at various stages in my life, as a young wife, as as a professional in so many different roles. So. Those are two places where the energy in the kshetram is so powerful that I get very recharged and energized, rediscover myself in so many ways every time I go there. Yes.
Okay. A career lesson Madurai has taught you. I think you touched upon this earlier, the power of reframing.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to add?
And intentionality again, of course. And also bloom where you're planted. Absolutely. And I think, in fact, something I missed since I relocated to Chennai is my involvement in the social sector.
Okay.
Yeah, that was something. It was taken for granted as long as I was in Madurai. And as I said, my DI sensibility, Madurai honed my DI sensibility. It was a very bottom-up lesson. Yeah, and the community taught me. So I didn't learn it from textbooks. Yeah, and also the power of lived experience. In my work with the communities, they taught me. Like for instance, I started working in the community with people impacted and affected by HIV/AIDS. So back then we were communication consultants. So we would just go and tell them, you should do this, do that. And our messages would be very fear-based. So the community taught us a beautiful lesson. They said, don't use these skull and bones images because it evokes fear. And fear-based messages don't produce long-lasting behavior change. What a lesson from the community. And I saw for myself how people with lived experience of HIV or AIDS, how they rebuilt their lives. So little did I realize that that would be a great, not only a career lesson, but also a huge personal lesson as well. And in my workshops at Avatar, I think all the frameworks, the workshop framework itself is very lived experience centric. So for me, it's been a very, very bottom up understanding and engagement with lived experience. It's never at the conceptual level, never just at the cognitive level. It's a very embodied
Which is
experience,
what
and
works,
that I
right?
owe
Which
it to
is what
Madurai.
absolutely works. Lived experience over frameworks any day, right?
Yeah.
Segment 3, reflections and takeaways. So, if a young woman were starting her career in Madurai today, what would excite you most for her?
I think compared to 30 years back, the world has moved on.
Mhm.
So much has changed. I think technology has made so many things possible. So I suppose geography no longer matters these days. So if she's working remote, I think the world's her playground. And therefore, greater responsibility to hone her professional skills. So invest in personal and professional growth and development. And even the sky is not the limit. Yeah.
And what changes would make the biggest difference to women's careers in the city? What can improve?
Yeah. Madurai has, even today, it has a very strong NGO presence.
Mm.
And NGOs, as we know, most of them work on Saturdays, work long hours. So probably a 5 day week, because particularly for women, I think it enables greater work-life integration, and also the need for women to have more sponsors. They might be mentors, but sponsors, not, this is not just a Madurai specific issue. I think it's universal, pan India or pan global. Yeah, the need for, and also for women in Madurai, young women, to take ownership of their careers and lives. I used to teach at a B school in Madurai, and it used to interest me even back then. Most young women would see this MBA as a stopgap, as a passport to matrimony. I would tell them it needs to be, your career needs to be a career capital.
Mm.
You know, it needs to be an investment in uh, in rebuilding your life, because we never know, life throws curveballs at us.
Right.
So, and I think the greatest asset a woman can have, the greatest wealth I would say a woman can have, is her education.
Right.
So,
Very helpful points there, Nandini. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. Here's hoping that more women discover what smaller cities like Madurai make possible. Stay tuned for more such conversations, dear viewers. We'll be back soon with another such conversation. This is She Works, a podcast brought to you by Habitat. Thank you.